Infectious Melodies, the biggest debut album of the year, and hit singles, including one of the best-selling digital songs of all time. The 23-year-old New Yorker has risen to global fame in barely a year, her eccentric outfits defining an image. We meet at one of her first ever arena concerts during her Asian tour. Hello there, I'm Christy Lee Stout in Macau. My guest this week is Lady Gaga, who's about to hit the stage behind me. We'll catch her act live. We'll also talk about life as a pop icon.
My name is Lady Gaga.
This is Talk Asia. Now, do I call you Lady Gaga or just Gaga?
Call me Gaga.
Gaga? Mm-hmm. And you are Gaga. It's not some sort of persona. It's your identity.
Yeah, it's me.
And the name it came from the Queen song. So why did you make that reference to Radio Gaga?
Well, actually, it was a nickname that my producer, Rob Fusari, gave me. And he called me Gaga in the studio because he said I was so theatrical when I performed. And, you know, for me, it's always funny when people ask me about the distinction because the truth is it's just a name, as if, I don't know if your mother or father had a nickname for you when you were little, but Gaga was like my street nickname.
Just Dance, Poker Face, huge hits. What do you think is the reason why they've become so big?
I guess I've seemed to have struck a nerve.
Do you think it's the lyrics? Do you think it's the beats?
I think it's a mixture of everything all together. I think that my music, as well as my performance art, offers a sense of escapism. And I think that, especially in America, I can't speak for the rest of the world, but especially in America, there was a real need for someone to tell a story.
You're also a songwriter. You write your own stuff. So how does that creative process take place?
In all sorts of ways. Inspiration comes to me all day long, every day. Sometimes when I'm falling asleep, I have these visions. But it's not just music. It's music, it's the clothing, it's the stage performance. I always say to people, it's actually when the cameras were off, I asked you if you were going to see me tonight. And I always ask that question because the truth is, we could sit here all night and talk about my music and talk about my show, but you will never know who I really am unless you see me live.
Now let's go back to your background and I want to ask you what it was like being Gaga as a kid. And I can gather that you weren't a shy kid. Did you like showing off?
I was a real pain in the ass.
Yeah. How so? What did you do?
I just was very loud. I was always singing and dancing, and my father was always laughing with me, and I had a great childhood. I just was a very dramatic young woman. During free time, I was in the chapel playing some classical piece that I was learning or writing music. I just was a very creative young woman. And I'm just a very secluded person. I mean, just in all honesty, I only associate now even with the people that I work with. I don't really have many friends. And it's the life that I choose.
Have there been any downsides to fame?
No. No, I've always been famous. It's just now that everybody knows about it.
What about the crazy rumors that are out there? I mean, crazy rumors, for example, about you being a hermaphrodite. How do you feel about that when you read that?
I'm not even going to answer that question. You can ask me about scrutiny. I just would prefer that.
Then I'll ask you that then. Like, you know, you launch an album called The Fame. You achieve an extraordinary amount of fame, and you're under an extraordinary amount of scrutiny. And there must have been a lot of downsides to that. I mean, how do you feel?
There's no downsides. I, for myself, am surrounded by very creative and wonderful people. And I've always been taught, and it's funny because Grace Jones said this to me when I met her. She said, no matter what you do in your life, don't you ever let anybody take your creative people away from you. And what my creative friends always remind me of is they say, only value the opinion of those that you respect. And anyone that you don't respect, pay no mind to their opinion about you or anything else. And that's how I live my life. If I worried about everything that everyone said, I would not be a good artist.